We're back at Shell Creek with Alabama head football coach Nick Saban, and we were talking off the air about what's the inevitable story. And Coach, let's go back, if we could, to a week ago today, and just kind of take us through the first hours that you experienced. And I say that because so many people have looked to you. We talked to a couple of your players, and just kind of give us some perspective on the last week.
Well, you know, the first thing that sort of got our attention was Terry and I were at home. I had just gone home to change clothes to go to Coach Stallings' dinner for the RISE program. And as soon as I got home, my son calls, and they say the glass is breaking, the glass is breaking. So we tell them to get in the bathtub, lay down on the floor, get down, and they were 1 block away from the devastation. But that was the first sort of personal alarm that went off for us. And from that time on, you know, everything that we've done, not involving what we do as Alabama coach, has been to try to do something to help the people that have been affected by this devastation. So, and I really do appreciate the generosity of the volunteers and the commitment that people have made to help. I think the community service has been fantastic. I think everybody in Tuscaloosa has done a wonderful job, from the police to, you know, our government to the sheriff's office. I mean, everybody has done a marvelous job, and I was even pleased with the way our players responded to try to help. But this is something that's going to go on for a while. It's going to take a long time to rebuild. Tuscaloosa is not really going to be the same for a while, and everybody has to realize that. But we really do appreciate all the people who have supported the efforts of rebuilding Tuscaloosa, as well as helping the people who have been affected.
Chatting with Coach Saban, and we've spoken to a couple of your players who have stayed behind, and again, they're just doing what students do. And I think you forget sometimes that football players are students, but I think they're showing it brilliantly and courageously this time around.
Well, you know, we had a team meeting, and I said to the players, I'm going to challenge you guys to be a team in the worst of times. You know, we just can't be a team on Saturday afternoon when we have to play a game. And all these people who always support us, they need our support now. So any way that you can help, anything that you can do would be appreciated. And we had several organized efforts where the players participated. A lot of the guys had to go home. It was difficult with no power, no place to eat. But a lot of the guys stuck around and helped out. So I'm really pleased with the way the entire university has responded in a very positive way, and trying to be supportive with the community as well.
People always look to sports as a way out, as a way to maybe escape, and I have a feeling that you'll be called on many times, and not that this is an unusual path for you with your record and Terry's record with charity, but talk a little bit about what you see ahead, and because this is going to be a nonstop fundraising effort by everyone.
Well, Terry and I are both committed, as is Nick's kids, which we've already fed people in shelters. We've already given things away. Terry likes to do things on the personal level, so she goes to Walmart and buys, you know, $5,000 worth of $50 gift certificates and goes and hands them out to people in need. And, you know, her latest suggestion or idea is that we take on rebuilding a community. And I think that would be a good thing. We have a lot of people calling and asking how they can help. I think maybe one of the ways that we could make an impact is to have all those people sort of come together for one cause and try to support. I know a lot of people have supported the Red Cross, and they have done a phenomenal job of helping a lot of people who have been, you know, left homeless. But, you know, we're going to do everything that we can do and continue to do to give back to the community and help the people who are in need.
I know that at times you do need to turn the page even for a moment. So if we could, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing right now beyond this effort in terms of getting this football team ready for next season.
Well, you know, this is really kind of the downtime for our team. You know, from spring, when spring semester is over. We don't have very many guys that go to the 3-week intersession, which is a short summer school session. We're geared up for our guys all to come in on June the 1st and, you know, be ready to go with the summer conditioning program. So, but this is a recruiting time for us. This is two things that I try to really focus on is recruiting and doing as much as I can from afar. And we like to do the teleconferences, spend a lot of time on the telephone, talking, developing relationships, having people visit. But the other thing that we do at this time of year is to try to get ready for next season and look at our opponents and some of the issues and problems that we can address in fall camp that'll help us, with season preparation.
Coach, some of these questions seem I'm almost hesitant to ask, but you are the head football coach at Alabama, and fans out there, whether they're rebuilding or not, want to know what the future looks like. Just going back and looking ahead, in spite of a disappointment, not repeating as national champion, a lot of prognosticators are putting you pretty high up for the upcoming season. I'm sure that really doesn't concern you, but the expectations are going to be pretty high.
Right. Well, our focus is always on the process of what we need to do to get each individual player in the right position to be as successful as he possibly can, to reach their full potential, and to do that individually and collectively as a team. And, last year we had a very young team that did not probably show the maturity that you needed in difficult circumstances and difficult situations, whether it was on the road at South Carolina or LSU or, getting ahead in the Auburn game and them being able to come back. Those are the kind of things that I think a more mature team can manage and handle a little bit better. Now, we may not have, when you have 4 first-round draft picks, you obviously lost some good players and some very talented players, but we're going to have a little more maturity on our team this year from experience standpoint and more guys returning. Do we have enough explosive players on offense? There's a lot of opportunity there for some people. Are the quarterbacks going to, even though they're very talented, are they going to come through and play the kind of winning football you need at that position to have a successful season? And are we going to look at the experience that we have coming back on defense as a comfort zone or a challenge to be an excellent defensive team? Sometimes guys take it as a comfort zone. Well, we have a lot of experience, we don't need to work as hard. That can't be. It's got to be a challenge to be dominant. And that's something that I think helped us 2 years ago, and that's certainly something that can help us this next year with the defensive team that we have coming back.
There's so many issues. There's always issues in college football, and you have been at the vanguard of many of them, just in terms of what you have, people you have spoken with in the off season, looking ahead and getting ready for this next season. Looking at the broader scope of college football, what concerns you the most?
Well, there's a lot of internal things that are going on right now that are, Jim Tressel's situation. The guy's one of the great people in college football. He's always been a great person. He set a great example. He does a really good job of helping develop young people, and, situations like that are a little bit of a concern. But I think that we need to continue to develop good relationships with how we can all work together with the NCAA. And I think Mark Emmert is our experience with him at LSU. He is going to be a fantastic, president of the NCAA. I think they're trying to cut staff. But I think one of the biggest things is there's 60 or 70 teams in this country that have a little bit different circumstance about what football is to them, what athletics is to them, as opposed to somebody else. And I don't look at college football as a business. I look at it as it's revenue producing. And some of these 60 or 70 teams have a tremendous amount of revenue that support the university. It also supports all the other sports and the participation and the scholarships for a lot of student athletes. And that's what college football is all about, because that is the number one sort of revenue producing sport. But it's what college athletics is all about, too. So we have a different set of circumstances and needs when it comes to staff, support staff, coaches, and people. And we can't get thrown in there with the other 250, schools who don't have the same financial wherewithal to have that kind of support program. But it's all generated by the kind of revenue that we're able to produce, because we're income producing. It's not a business, because we reinvest everything back into the program. And to restrict that and not to be able to have the quality program is probably not a good thing. In some kind of way, we got to get that worked out for the future.
Finally, it's been a long day, but you were very vocal and outspoken last year at the media days about the agent situations, and it seems like there are more and more problems growing across the board. Just address that issue for a moment.
Well, I do think that, we tried to make an appeal when we went up to the NCAA, met with all the NFL people about rules of the future in college football, as well as enforcement in college football, injuries, in the future of college football, and agents was one of the things that we discussed with the NFL people. And I think the NFL is sort of all in on this to try to do something to control it. But the NFL Players Association is going to have to get all in. Because we just can't keep punishing the players. We need to punish the people who are the villains on the other end, who are creating some of the problems by not sort of having enough respect for the rules that they have to do their business in a first-class professional way. So, and we're hopeful that in this collective bargaining agreement, that the NFL Players Association and the NFL will be able to work something out that will put some teeth in this in the future. We have a big problem here now because of the media attention these young people get, even in high school. They're 5 stars. There's an expectation created for them. And I think there's a lot of people in their ear talking to them about things and worrying about a career as a professional before they ever become a good college player. And I think there's a lot of issues surrounding that. And I think that we need to do a better job in personal development, as well as continue to stress the importance of academics and graduation, because you're not going to play any kind of athletics past 30 unless you're one of the best players that ever played, and most won't play past college. So we need to continue to work in those kind of areas so that people make good choices and decisions about what's going to affect their future on a much more realistic scale.
Coach Saban, many thanks.
Well, thanks, Paul. Always good to see you.
You too.
Thank you.